Hello, One Piece Pirates. It's your favorite player, Snowy Frog, here with another slideshow on how I got ready for the most recent double tournament weekend, uh, playing Green Purple Luffy. So due to various reasons, mostly real life getting in the way, I didn't really have much time to prepare for this tournament. I wasn't really sure if I wanted to play, to be honest, but it's been a while since I competed, and I think this format is a lot more open than the next format, so I really wanted to give it a go. And also haven't made any content for the channel for a while, so I have to do that. So here we go. Without further ado, this is who I am. No longer a judge, unfortunately. Previously on Kata, I've top 8'd in online regionals, and then that was in OPO 5 or 6 format, I believe, just before Reject got banned. And then on Dofi, I was top 16 at OCE Nats, coming 12th. And then right after that, I came top 8 in an online treasure cup. Also heaps of top 32s and top 64s, but I don't think they were relevant. This on the right is a Decklist I was going in for the weekend, so if you just want that, you can click off the video now, but please don't. Please stay. And let's see what I did. So why did I decide on GP? It seemed pretty good for the format. My understanding was this would be the deck to beat in this pretty open meta. And from my understanding, the deck played a lot like Duffy and Zara. I'll get into how I found this out later. But essentially good fundamentals is what you need to do well with the deck. And also if you hit your right curve, you don't really need to think too much, and you get to play 12 searches, so you're quite consistent. I wanted to play something generically strong, that means good into the meta, because I knew I wouldn't have much practice. And I also knew Jasper, the OC representative at Worlds, was playing the deck, so I thought it must be pretty good. So this started on a Thursday, I believe. I went to locals and borrowed my friend's Green Purple Luffy list. Thank you, V. I went 3-1. I played against Blackbed. Round 1 I went second. I think in the future first would have been better. I played against the Mirror. I lost to Jasper or Adachi. And then I played the Mirror again. I went first and I won this one. And the last game I played RP Luffy, I went second and won this one. So yeah, after this day, I realized the deck felt a lot like Duffy, in kind of a weird way. In Duffy, you kind of can ignore the board because you're bouncing it with your forecast law. This deck is you're ignoring the board because your board is so much better than your opponent's all the time. And you're a 6k leader, so they struggle to hit your face. So you can just hit face the whole game, kind of. Or you, against Blackbed, the gameplay is quite similar, where you grind the board and then you as long as you had a decent board at the end, you kind of win. So it felt quite good to pilot, so I was pretty happy. On day 2, I got my EBO 2 boxes, and I opened all of them. And this is when I got the deck list. I actually asked Jasper for this, and he sent me this. And it looked fine. It looked good enough. There's nothing crazy, no crazy tech or any cards that I'm not sure about. And so I was like, okay, whatever. And then basically this day, because I knew I didn't have heaps of time, and I putting the boxes took a lot of the day, or a lot of my afternoon. I just went and watched all of the YouTube videos I could find. So I watched of course I watched the fetch video explaining the deck. I watched Cross AI's video on the deck. OP TCG Grinder had 2 videos on mirrors, I think. So I watched both of those. SG TCG also had a GP Luffy vs Shanks, which is a deck I thought would be quite popular because I knew it's a bad matchup for the GP Luffy, so I remember watching that. And I watched a gold standard video on how to play the deck. And then day 3, again, real life comes up. But at this point I got most of the cards, so I sleeved them all up. These are the sleeves I'm going with. I think before tournament, just get your sleeves ready, make sure you have extras. I have an extra pack of these sleeves, so if anything happens during the tournament, I can replace the sleeve. And yeah, if you are using official Bandai sleeves, I highly recommend getting over sleeves for them. It just makes it a lot better. Day 4, I went to pick up the cards I was missing, so that's the Gamma Knife and the I think I was missing one secret Luffy. I read Elevate House's Metafy, which is pretty good. I'm not gonna say what the guide said because it feels a bit, he's selling a guide. But the main takeaways for me was like which matchups you want to go first and second into, and then also that Electrical Luna and the stage are like super broken cards. And then I pulled up to HQ, which is where I practice, and I played a bunch of practice games with Adachi or Jasper, Chopper OCE or Nice, Recoveries, Hui, Stefan, and Hubert. And then on the right, you can see my score, and it's not very good. But the point of this is just to like understand the important aspect of aspects of the deck. Playing the mirrors helps because I get to watch my opponent play the lines as well as myself play the lines, and then think about why each of us would do that. And I know these players are quite strong, so they're not just gonna make like silly mistakes. And then some of these are like what cards I want to mulligan for, where I should be swinging, and like if I need to be swinging, above power, especially in the mirror, like am I swinging 6 or 8 or 7, what turns like to leader ability, and like what kind of cards to play around in the mirror. But yeah, you can see I think here I go like 4 and 8. It's pretty 4 and 9 even. Yeah, it's pretty rough. Yeah, not much to say on that. I know some of the games were like I was super bricked up or my opponent was super bricked up, which is how the win or loss happened. But over a decent sample size, I think. And then I kind of figured out this was, in my mind at least, this is the default game plan. Turn 1, you're playing a Searcher, or in this case, like Nami is the ideal one. Turn 2, you're playing, you're just gonna swing 5k with the Nami, because the list I'm playing with doesn't play any of like the 3-cost characters. There's some other lists we're playing. Then you're gonna play Sanji Pudding, then after that you're gonna Luffy Taro Sanji Pudding. And then after this point in the game, you kind of just play whatever cards you have, holding up Giant and trying to close the game with Monkey D. Luffy, like the 6-cost secret, or you just like finish the game with whatever characters you played on board. And then going second, it's quite different. This is kind of when I figured out like going second is better in the mirror. At least that's what it feels like. So turn 1 you have you play your searches. Turn 2 you play Zorajuro. Oh, the Searcher, interesting. Turn 3 you get to Sanji Pudding and play your Zorajuro with the leader ability. It's pretty good. And then after that, it's just Luffy Taro into Sanji Pudding, and now suddenly you have a board of 2 6Ks, 2 7Ks, and an 8K, and it's pretty crazy. Again, finish the game with your secret Luffy, or just like huge board. Just finish the game with that. Holding up Gum Giant when necessary to do so. One of the other things is like you can turn 1 and 2 for like first and second. You kind of just can like play out all of your searches. If you want to. After the turn 4, like you'll have 4 Don left over going first or second if you like hit this exactly. With that, what you can do is that's when you can play all the searches and find all the like counter cards you're missing, or like if you don't have any giants, or if you're missing any pieces. Going first, like the 5k lead, I don't think is super necessary. It's not the most important thing in the world, so you can just play 3 searches on this turn. Or I think I did in a lot of games, like play 2 searches and then swing 6, and it doesn't really matter. Those are your like generic lines anyways. This is the day after, this is day 5. So I want to get mirror practice in, because I think mirror is the most important matchup, or like the hardest matchup for most decks. In some essence it's 50-50. Whether they depend on the dice roll or skill. I had a few people tell me this mirror was like super skill based, so I really wanted to make sure I could make it work. Originally I was going to test with the same group, but I'm actually recovering from an injury. This is part of why I haven't had practice, or haven't got to get ready for it. So I couldn't walk to the venue or the HQ. So I played a bunch of games with Rowan, 22 Rowans, as well as one game with TCG. And you can see I kind of smoked Rowan here. But yeah, playing the mirror is quite important in my opinion, because any matchup you can turn from like a 50-50 into like a 60-40. Suddenly you're winning these games you shouldn't be winning, and this is how you kind of get the edge. On day 6, I had to go to the Ado concert. Look, there's no two ways about it. Ado was in Melbourne. I had to go to the concert, and it was a fantastic concert. And Ado gave me the buff, Gotta win this. Went to this amazing concert. Day 7, I was recovering from my injury, and I was watching some games between my friends Quinn and Rowan again. Those there their Twitter handles if you want to follow them. I don't remember exactly what they were playing, but I think Quinn was actually playing like a bunch of random decks, so that's fine. Yep. And then on day 9, unfortunately, work caught up to me. So you notice actually there's not much practice in these 2 days, or these so to try and make the most of it, I did manage to like sneak my way into locals, and then I watched some mirror practice happening between the first testing group, the HQ testing group. I learned certain lines, like where you want to play the 4-cost Zoro. That's the green, like rush-ish Zoro. Can be okay to like get advantage or play the character on board. This, like, to be honest, I wasn't really sure how to use this card other than resisting blockers. And then one thing that was, I think, like helped, TCG Grinder posted what his class would cover, and just from this you can learn a lot like about the mirror. So yeah, how to win going first. Okay, kind of like locked in that you want to go second. How the Sanji pudding gap is fake. Sure. Gamma knife, radio knife, not much there. Lethal lines. This was something I think I was actually quite bad at. When to fight for board versus life. This was something I was already okay at, I think, from the Dofi practice that I'd done before. Other ones here, the Robin on 4 play. This was something I was interested in. Probably something I would have changed if I were to play again, was to play more Robins. I thought the card was very good. Turning off Luffy, so this is referring to the 6-cost Luffy. So making, when your opponent plays it, if you go under 4 Don, the Luffy no longer has rush. Starving, this was not something I like actually tested this like a little bit, and I overall thought it wasn't a real strategy, but it did kind of come up, so that's fine. Here, this one I also thought was quite important, why playing Sanji pudding on 5 is faker than you think, but when to do it and why it's important in some situations. I was kind of opened my eyes to, like, just reading this title. It's like, okay, what's my alternative on 5? The obvious one is playing Zorojuro, the 4-cost 6k searcher. One thing that happens, or that I noticed in testing, is like one person can fall behind in cards if they the opponent disables their Sanji pudding draws like properly. And one thing is that the Zorojuro replaces itself, whereas the Sanji pudding on 5 does not replace itself. So that was something I thought, like, maybe that's a thing, but just something I kept in the back of my mind for the tournament. But yeah, I feel like he kind of gave away a lot of his content with this one, so shout out to him for that. Thanks, Ikwimbi. And then day 10 was the online treasure cup. Game 1 was like actually really bad for me. I was playing against the Bonnie and I completely forgot that 8-cost Kid existed as a card. Thankfully, I managed to punch through it with like a 10-10-8, and then won the next turn. Games 2 to 7 kind of like played themselves for me. You can see my matchups on the left. I don't think any of these are unfavored matchups for the Luffy, as long as you know when to go first or second. And so thanks to LVH Hellas for that one. I just played on curve and chose like the right, at least in my opinion, chose the right place to go first or second. And in my last bullet point, I won almost all of my dice rolls. The only one I didn't win was against the RP Luffy, and they chose second when I wanted to go first, so I was very happy with that. As you can see in the photo, there's like me and the team captain of Fetch, Bill. The final game was against my team captain, so I was super happy. Like, my first time in the finals, Bill's first time in the finals. We were guaranteed one of us would get first, so I was super happy, regardless of the result. And he did manage to beat me in the end. Well deserved on his behalf. His bracket is a lot more difficult than mine was. So this was a pretty good day for me. We both went to the Ado concert, so we both got that Ado buff that I was mentioning, and that really carried me through this tournament. And then day 11 was the online regional. So I actually wanted to win this one more, but unfortunately I didn't do too well. And this day, like the lack of prep kind of caught up to me. Some of the more intricate aspects of the deck like kind of screwed me over, especially in the mirror. So in the first mirror, I had a lethal line which involved playing the 6-cost Secret Luffy, and I didn't do it at all. Basically, I kind of figured it out after the game was over. And that involved like keeping my Dawn, managing my Dawn correctly, and like using Gum Gum Giant correctly. Unfortunately, I didn't do that, and I lost there. And then I lost one of the markers. Thankfully, it was against, or maybe not thankfully, it was against a friend who also managed to finish X2. I finished 38th. I think I had the second worst tiebreakers of all the X2 players. But congratulations to Stefan for winning this one. And my other testing partner, Rowan, was in the finals of this one and unfortunately lost to Stefan, and he came third as well. So, you know, I kind of had a buddy-buddy thing here. And then, that's basically how I got ready for a tournament in 1 week. Bit of a, you know, definitely got a bit lucky, especially with my matchups on game 1. If you guys want to see any gameplay footage, well, I don't know how to edit. JP is editing these. My god. If you're interested in seeing like some of the gameplay footage, please drop a comment or let me know if like there's specific situations you want to know about. Thankfully, all the time I spent playing Dofi and understanding like lethal lines and like how playing just correctly and playing to your strategy, like all that time really paid off for me here. And it just goes to show like playing fundamentals or knowing your fundamentals is like super valuable. Obviously, like the lines, you know, if you just play your curve every game, like you'll do well. But then there's also things about like how to take advantage of your opponent not playing with the correct fundamentals, how you can like change your strategy to bluff certain things or to represent the state, you know, to misrepresent the state that is favorable to you, whether that's like forcing your opponent to go for lethal when they don't actually have to, when your opponent's like guarding incorrectly, how can you take advantage of that? This information is like super valuable, and then the Dofi practice definitely like taught me a lot of these things. And if you want to see more of that, go check out the coaching series. I know Bill and JP have been working very hard on that. And if you want to see like very specific things, let us know that in the comments as well. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'll catch you all next time. See ya.